Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm the WrapMaker, Jim McIntosh. Glad you're here today. Now, let me explain. We're making a ring today, and we're not just making any ring. We're making an adjustable ring, and let me explain why. I hate making regular rings for shows. I like making them, just don't like making them for shows, and this is the reason why. You can't be free with your designs. You have to make one in that size. And you have to make it for multiple sizes. And let me tell you, this happened to us at many art shows that we've done. When I made rings that were just one specific size, people would come up, they'd try it on, and it wouldn't fit, but they would really like the ring. So they would say, I'd like it, but it doesn't fit. And so they'd walk away. Then I started making simple, adjustable rings. And I set those out. And they love the rings. Now, what you can do is you can make these rings, put them out there, people will buy them, but you can also tell them that you can make a custom ring for them. See, you got to think ahead, don't you? So today we're going to make an adjustable ring that's a big seller of mine. And it's really simple to do. Hope you enjoy this. Let's go ahead and we'll take a look at the tools and the materials for the project. We're going to be needing a measuring device. I've got my ruler here. That's going to help us measure out all of our wire. We're also going to need some flush cutters. These will help us to cut this off of the spool, to cut the lengths we'll need. So a good pair of flush cutters are really important. We're also going to need these. These are nylon jaw pliers, and these are great for straightening out the wire. Kind of saves your fingertips to do this. We're using a heavier gauge wire, and it can kind of cause some bruising on your fingertips a little bit if you're not used to it, if you haven't built up a callus on your fingertips yet. So these nylon jaw pliers, excellent for smoothing those wires out. We're going to also need something to kind of hold our wires together. So we've got our painter's tape. We'll be cutting that off. I've got my grungy scissors that we'll be doing that with. We'll also need to mark the wire so we know what area to wrap. So I have a fine tip permanent marker. Our WrapMakers. One of my most important tools are these WrapMakers, and these are going to help us as we're wrapping these wires together. It makes the job so much easier. So make sure you have a pair of these WrapMaker pliers. We're going to be making a ring. Now, I love these wrap and tap pliers for that reason, to make rings. It makes bending this and getting that initial shape so much easier. So make sure you have these. Now, you don't have to have them, but it does make the job much easier. And to refine the shape, a steel ring mandrel. I'm saying a steel ring mandrel because we're going to be hammering this against, we're going to be flattening it out with our, with a chasing hammer. You want the resistance here. You want this to be metal so that it will flatten the wire. And that's going to be part of making this ring. And of course, here's my chasing hammer, so make sure you pick up a chasing hammer as well. Now let's take a look at all of the materials, and there's not a whole lot of materials we're going to need, but let's take a look at them right now. The first thing we're going to need 18 gauge round wire, and this is dead soft wire. And then we'll need 18 gauge half round wire. This will make our wraps for the piece. That's it, just 2 different wires. Let's make the project. So I've already gone ahead and cut 3 pieces of my 18 gauge round wire, and each one of it is 4 inches long. So we want to just take a minute to straighten these wires out. And again, I say you don't have to make these perfectly straight. We're going to make these relatively straight, just so that they sit next to one another nicely. So just straighten these out. This one's not straight. There's. All right, so we've got all three of these straightened out. The next thing we need to is we need to get some tape. We just need 2 pieces of tape off of this, wherever it is. There we are. Just cut 2 pieces of your blue tape, or of your painter's tape. Your painter's tape may not be blue. And just kind of set it aside for just a second. We're going to grab all 3 of our wires. We just want to even them up at one end and make them nice and even, and then put the tape across them and then around and make a flag. Make sure the flag is on there pretty good because this is round wire, so you don't want it to roll. And then the next thing we want to do, I straighten out with my fingers. It's such a habit I have, but I need to get out of that habit because I have kind of bruised my fingertips when I make a lot of pieces. So I'll make sure I use these nylon jaw pliers. Okay, I'm going to put another flag at the other end. Cross everything. So we should have everything nice and even. Now, we said we had 4 inches of wire here. We want to find the center of this wire bundle and mark that. We're going to mark it with a fine tip permanent marker. Across all 3, right there at 2 inches. From this 2-inch mark, from this center mark, go to the left, about a 1/4 of an inch, and to the right, 1/4 of an inch. This is going to be the area from here to here that we're going to wrap. That's our initial setup for this. I'm telling you, this is such an easy piece to make. The next thing we want to do is you want to cut a piece of your half-round wire. Remember, we keep it in the curve because the inside is our flat side, the outside is our half-round side. We want to wrap this center section. So I have my WrapMakers here. I'm sitting up just outside where I want my wrap to begin my wrap. I'm going to line my wire up, a wrap wire flat side against the ring, put it until it bottoms out, and I'm lining it up right there at that first mark. Put some little pressure on the handles, and then start your wrap. We're just going to wrap. We'll make 4 wraps, and then we will set this. So move it into place, set it. Oops. Trying to fix this first one. It didn't want to fix. There we go. Give it a good squeeze. Make sure everything's together as well. And then continue your wrap. So we're going to make it till we get to that other mark. Set it. Just a couple more wraps here. 1, 2. So, got our wraps. And a lot of wire here, extra wire. We're not going to need any more. So, put the curve back in just so you know which is which is the flat and which is the half round. And then trim it short. Or hold on to that wrap wire. Push this guy down. And then do the same over here. We're going to cut off our excess, about half the width of this there. And set that into place. That's all the wrapping we're going to do on this piece. The next thing we want to do is we want to actually start to make the form of the ring. So I'm going to use my rapid tabs. I'm going to center them on here, and I'm going to use this smallest one. It seems to be the best, depending on the size that you're making. I'm going to be making probably about a size 7 for this, since my producer has a size 7 finger, and she keeps bugging me about making rings for her, so we're going to make this a size 7. So bring both of them up, and we just want to make a U shape. We're not going to cross them over one another. We just want this U shape. Is all we want. And now we can look at forming it onto here at the size we want. So like I said, I want to do a 7. Bring it down here to a 7. And I want to just make sure that this goes around there and make that U shape again. Just so that it's nice and settled. So we're right here at size 7. That's what I want to make. Now that you've got this initial form, you take these flags off. And flags off this side. Now we need to think about what we're going to do with this. Now, the ring that I'm making is going to go behind the finger. So what we just wrapped will be in the underside of the finger. We're going to put the design on top of the finger. There's a few things I want you to think about when doing this. Look at your fingers. Your fingers are long, so you want to make a design that goes in this direction. So the design is going up or down the ring, not across the ring for this particular one. So we're going to go make it up and down. And this will make a lot more sense in just a minute. As we are making this, you'll get a better understanding. I also want to do another thing. Is I'm going to put in a video on how to use a ring mandrel for doing this. There's a very specific way. Now, I don't do it this way because I'm showing you here on my tabletop here. But when I'm working, when I'm at my bench regularly, this is how I use it. Use my ring mandrel when I'm creating rings. So let's take a look at that video. To shape the ring, we're going to use a steel ring mandrel. Now, a steel ring mandrel is great because it's nice and heavy. It offers you the resistance. So if you're using a mallet to shape things, you're getting a nice firm steel resistance from this. Now, the best way to use this is to take this larger end and put it into your hip, someplace where it's not going to slip or hurt you. That's important. You don't want to get hurt doing this, right, guys? We don't want to get hurt. And then I take the smaller end and I put it against my workbench. Nice, firm surface. Wasn't that interesting? That's just makes it so much easier to create rings, to manipulate the wire around the metal with the stability that you need. Today, though, for this, I'm going to be doing everything kind of on here. I have a slotted ring mandrel, and this kind of gives me that stability. I don't like using a slotted one unless I have to. I prefer to use a ring mandrel that's round all the way, but this is one that's going to just hold it stable here on my work surface. So I'm going to put it back on here at the size that I want to make it. So I'm making a size 7. We need to start manipulating this wire here. And remember, we want this to be an elongated design. So we're going to take this one wire at a time. So let me make sure I grab the right one. So I'm just going to grab one of these outside wires. And I'm just going to make a curl. I'm using my fingertip. Since this is dead soft wire, this stuff will manipulate. I'm just kind of put it here. Made just a simple design. And now I'm going to take my chasing hammer, and I just want to flatten this. We're not doing this paper thin. We're doing this just to leave some of the body into it. Okay, so that's all I've done. And we're going to be tapping this a little bit more as we go. Well, the next we want to take is the middle wire on the same side. So make sure you grab that middle wire. And I want to bring it to the middle next to that first wire. And we're just going to I'm making a simple design. You can make any design you want, but I'm just making a simple design. And now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to flatten this wire. And then the last one we want to do is we're going to take one from the other side. We're going to take this outside one on this side. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make design. And I'm just going to kind of make one that mimics what we've done. And hammer that one flat as well. And you want to make sure that this all kind of conforms to the ring mandrel. And we're going to finish our design here in a minute. So now let's take and mimic everything that we did here. We're going to do on the bottom of the ring. So this is the other outside one. We're going to bring it around and do that. And then we'll hammer that one. Then we will take the middle one, or let's do the other out. Let's do the middle one. Yeah, let's do the middle one. Now, this middle one, you notice this top one, it points that way. So we want this middle one to point this way. So the middle one point this way and up into the center, like this. And you can make any design you want with this. And then this last one, actually I hammered the outside one. Let's do that. Let's fix that. I keep grabbing the wrong wires. So let me fix this real quick. This is the middle one. This one's going to go up and into the center, just like that. All I'm really doing is just kind of seeing what I want. Now, since I have a flat one, I have a flat spot here, so I got to fix that real quick before I do anything. And I'm going to use, maybe round this back out with my rawhide mallet. There we go. So let's kind of bring it all back in. This is kind of where we're at. What I need to do now is I need to kind of fix some of these wires. I don't want all that wire. Personally, I don't want all that wire. You might like all this wire, and you might want to use all of this wire. I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my wire cutters, and I'm just going to trim some of this away so that it kind of complements that design. So I'm going to cut it right there. Cut this one right there. And we'll cut this last one right here. And now let's do the same thing on the other side. So you want it kind of symmetrical. So you want to kind of just see where you're at. See if that's... All right. This is what we've got right here, where I kind of just manipulate our wires. Now, I'm going to want to take, first of all, I want to fix this wire. It's not bent like I want it, all the way flat. Here. There we go. And you can do that. You can just kind of play with these wires, get them how you want them. Slippery little guy, isn't it? But this is what I've got. This is just a simple design. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to want to take a file, a needle file, and file some of these flat. Some of these I don't have exactly how I want them. There. And these two here. This one and this one. Remember what I say. It's always best to cut too long or leave a little length to it than it is to cut it too short. Put it on your ring mandrel, make sure it's how you want it. If you need to flatten more, then flatten more. And that is about it. That's everything we're going to do with this ring. And that is a very, very simple ring to make. And there's so many things you can do with it. I want you to think about those designs of curling and moving those wires across the front. Think about maybe wrapping a bead into that, onto that in some way. So many things you can do. I like it because it's adjustable. Adjustable rings sell. I only have to make one size, and it'll go into a range of about a size 5 to about a size 8. So I only have to make one size ring that will fit a very large array of different finger sizes. So think in terms of doing that. You display them at your booth, or you display them on your website, and they sell because you don't have to worry about coming up with different sizes for that design. So think about how to do that. It's a great seller. All of my adjustable rings, big sellers at shows that we do. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by. I'm glad you came by to watch the show. I'm the WrapMaker, Jim McIntosh. And if you want to make good jewelry, if you want to make beautiful jewelry, you have to practice, practice, practice.